Good morning, Buffalo. Thank you for tuning in to the Buffalo U Up podcast. My name is Brian Dudeman, and I am your radio personality. Now, I know what you might be thinking. What exactly is the Buffalo U Up podcast? Well, I'm glad that you asked that. You see, every week, my co-hosts and I will try to interview Buffalo artists. These artists can include, but are not limited to, writers, directors, dancers, painters. Basically, if you live in the Buffalo area and help make Western New York a better place to live in, we'll have you on and hopefully make our town a better place to live in. So without further ado, we just have one question for you, Buffalo. You up?
Good morning, Buffalo. You are listening to the Buffalo U Up podcast. I am your host, Ari Nicole. That is A-I-R-Y, as in the air that you breathe. And with a Y at the end? Well, why? Because it's worth it.
And I would be your other voice and personality, Brian Dudeman Zabricki.
Here on this week's Buffalo U Up podcast, we have a very special guest, the sound guy, Mr. Adam Bloch.
Oh, thanks for having me. Thanks for inviting me to do this. Ari is one of my favorite people in the world, so when she asked me to do this, I couldn't say no. Primarily, I do sound for TV shows and movies, productions, and now this podcast, production sound and post-production sound. I also not as active anymore since sound has taken over my life, but I also do graphics, 3D modeling, texturing, graphic design, photo retouching, layout. But sound is, I'd say, 95% of what I do these days.
Good morning, Buffalo. This is Cynthia Gerber. So for this episode of the Buffalo U Up podcast, Dude Man asked fans to send in their questions through video. I guess I'll ask the first question. In the film industry, what would you say is the audio format standard? MP3, WAV, or FLAC? Thanks in advance.
Polyphonic waves. Waves, yes. If everybody had an ocean. We record polyphonic waves, so all the isolated mic tracks from the lavs that everybody's wearing and the boom are all baked in as separate tracks in the same file. That's the standard way that it's done. MP3s I will do for sometimes shows, particularly reality shows will want a small file that they can send to their transcription department, which helps them out with their editing. So I'll record MP3s at the same time as the waves for that, which are they include the time code so they can make all their notes. FLEC is a newer format, and it really hasn't caught on in the professional world yet, at least not in the film world. I don't know if it's been a while since I've been active in the music world, so I don't know what they're doing over there. But for film, that's not something we really touch.
Good morning, Buffalo. Heather Dunham here. Buffalo artist, actor, music enthusiast, and gamer. I've been listening to the show for a while now. My favorite episodes have to be Will Nemi and Sherry Lynn Litz. My question for Adam is, I want to start editing my own videos, but I have no idea which programs to start off with. Should I go with Adobe or Final Cut? Thanks in advance.
I'm primarily an Adobe guy, so I'm going to say Premiere. Final Cut and Premiere were kind of neck and neck for many years, and you could send files back and forth. It was easy to collaborate with people who were using both. When Apple came out with Final Cut Pro X, they kind of did away with all that, and X is, in my opinion, a disaster, and in a lot of people's opinion, there was kind of a mass exodus.
Good morning, Buffalo. My name is Kimberly, and I'm curious. What would you say is easier to mic, theater or film?
My live theater experience is very limited. Have not done very much of that, and not in many years. As far as which one's easier, they each have their challenges. It depends. How are you defining easier?
Like which one faces I guess least challenges, or which one, since you're more accustomed to? I think you would probably say film, right?
Film is what I do every day.
Right.
But again, they each have their own unique challenges. in a theater, you're dealing with a live environment. You're dealing with amplification systems. It's going to be primarily lav mics. If you're in a high-end theater, you'll have guys up in the catwalk with boom mics pointing down at the cast, but not every theater is going to have that. And it's kind of this hybrid sort of in between what live music sound mixers would do and what film sound mixers would do, but it's really its own thing. Film sound is its own thing too. I mean, I came from the music world over to film. I kind of fell into it by accident, which is a story we could talk about. And I discovered very quickly it's its own entity. It's a different animal from the other types of sound work.
Hey, dude, man, it's Sarah and Dom from the Our Kind of Bad podcast, and we have a question for you.
What film would you rank as your favorite for having the best sound design?
Yeah, tell us.
Yeah, I got to go with the original Star Wars. And as somebody who works in the field, I'm embarrassed to say the name of the sound designer has escaped me. He's like the most famous sound designer in the world, and I can't think of his name right now. But
Adam Bloch, right?
Yes. No, but everything from how he came up with the lightsaber sounds and the droids and the ships and all the things we kind of take for granted these days, like these are the sounds of science fiction, didn't exist before. He invented that stuff. A lot of it by accident.
And so here's my question, Adam. As an audio technician, which location is prime for you? What do you find easier to run sound in, interior or exterior location? Thanks. Also, check out this web series that Dude Man and I did together. It's called Inside Sexual Revolution's Discography, a Kyle S. title. It'll make you laugh, cry, puke your pants, and help you find Nirvana. Yeah, interior or exterior shots. Shouty out.
Again, they're each going to have their own challenges. Exteriors, you are at the mercy of the environment. You can't control traffic. You can't control birds and dogs and looky-loos. And, there's always that guy who's driving by in his car and he slows down and, hey, what are you guys doing here? Mayonnaise commercial, go away. Indoors, you're not, unless the walls are paper thin, you're not dealing with those environmental factors, but you are dealing with the acoustics of the room, creaky floors. Unless you're on a soundstage, there's going to be the noises of the house. I mean, if people are listening carefully here, we're in a basement studio here, and you can hear a little bit of the ventilation system in the house and the humming of lights.
There is ventilation.
This is true. I've been in some where there wasn't. Actually, my very first film I was a sound mixer on, a film called Model Hunger. The first 3 days were in an attic downtown Buffalo. If I remember correctly, it was in August or maybe late July. And I brought 3 air conditioners from home because we're up in an attic and it's so hot. One of the air conditioners I remember had a thermostat on it, and it was 99 degrees at the point of the air conditioner, and I think the reason it said 99 was because that is as high as it went, which means 10 feet from that air conditioner was probably 109. And I lost 6 pounds the first day.
Hey Buffalo, I'm Cryss Marie, a local actor and podcast fan. That's going to conclude our edition of Fan Mail. We have to take a quick commercial break, but we'll be right back.
And we're back, Buffalo. Adam Bloch is the guest of the week. We are switching things over now to a segment called Where in the World is Adam Bloch? So Adam, for the next 10 minutes, the floor is yours. You can talk about projects you've been a part of, projects you have coming up, or just how you got into audio.
All right. Well, it might be easier just to tell you how I started doing sound for film. I'd always been into sound because of music, so I had like some home studio equipment and things I would record on. A friend of mine, this was in 2007 maybe, was directing a sitcom pilot being filmed here in Buffalo, and he found out on set that he did not have a sound guy. So he called me up and he's like, hey, you're good with sound, right? Get over here. So I didn't know anything about film sound at the time, so I brought all the wrong stuff. I'm bringing studio equipment, mixing board and mic stands and things. Somebody had a monopod that we used as a boom pole, and we made it work. And because it worked out, all of a sudden people thought I was a sound guy, and I started getting calls. And then I'm like, okay, well, I guess I better learn how to do this for real. And I talked to other people who do it. I kind of self-educated, read some books, watched some videos, and the next job I was offered, I felt I was prepared, and I had more appropriate equipment. Still not the right equipment, though. I was recording on a laptop, not on a real field recorder. But I did manage to get hired on a few films even doing that. And then I got fired from one because the guy said, "Hey, I love you, man, but I hate your equipment. When you when you get better gear, I'm sure we'll do more stuff together." And he wasn't lying. We have done, I don't know, 5-6 films since then over the years.
Your equipment.
Yeah. But I just fell into it from that one phone call of my buddy who didn't have a sound guy that day.
Thank you, man. That was a really honest and really awesome answer I was looking for. Because again, since I'm beginning, it's good to know that I'm not just alone. That I'm not you know what I mean? That all the mess ups I do, everyone else has sort of been in my shoes before. So it's good to know that I'm not alone in that aspect. So thank you for being honest with me, man.
Yeah, 10, 15 years later, I know what I'm doing, and I'm working constantly. I have to turn down a lot of. In fact, just this morning, I got a call for a shoot in Sandusky, Ohio, that I had to turn down because I'm like, dude, no, I'm booked solid. It's fortunate I was able to today was right in between 2 shoots. Tomorrow I'm leaving for Erie, PA, and I'll be a week out there. And then I'll be back here in Buffalo doing another shoot. And then I don't even remember what I have after that. I have to check my calendar. But I'm working all the time. I'd like to think I've built a good, solid reputation, and I'm very good at what I do. But back then, didn't have a clue. Just did it.
You gotta start somewhere.
Yeah.
He does so much work around here, and he's never working on the same thing for very long. He's so versatile, and he has so many different projects going on. I mean, it's hard to believe that it's been a year since we actually last worked on something together.
It has.
That was the Buffalo 48-Hour Film Festival 2018, right?
Yes, it was.
We got you on our team last minute, didn't we?
Yeah. I didn't think I was going to be able to do it that year because the show I was on at the time was supposed to go right through it. And
what were you working on at the time?
That was Buffalo Bills Embedded.
You were recording sound for the Buffalo Bills, and
Yep.
then we got you on our team for the 48-Hour Film Fest. I mean,
Yeah, we ended up wrapping the show a day or two early, so I had to look back through my list, and because everybody had asked me to do it, and I'm like, okay, who asked first? And I scrolled all the way through my phone, and I'm like, oh, Ari. So,
I'm glad I was the first person on your list.
well, like I said earlier, there's only 4 or 5 of us who do it, and there's 25 teams.
Without Adam, we would definitely not have won Best Sound Design, let alone Best Film.
I think we had, 9 nominations and won 6 awards, I think?
We did take home 6 awards, yes, and I believe that we did have 9 nominations total, as both of our leads were both nominated Best Actor and Best Actress. Elisa Vetrano, our lead actress, did win that title.
She was really
as
good.
what very well deserved. Lisa, just to segue on a side note, Elisa Vetrano has been performing in theater for over 20 years, and she has a great reputation, and the opportunity to work with her was so amazing because I have wanted to work with her for so many years, and the fact that she not only was a part of our team, but that she got to play my mother, it was just it was a wonderful experience. It was so wonderful. And just watching her perform, I got teary-eyed even knowing she was acting because she just was so true and so real. Well-deserved award.
Closer?
I mean, Adam, thanks again for taking the time out of your super busy schedule to be here with us. We understand that sometimes things happen the day of, and yet you were still able to reserve us this time slot. So we are greatly honored to have you here, and I personally hope to get an opportunity to work with you again soon.
Okay, thank you.